The world has seen many wars, but none as devastating as World War II. A conflict that spanned the globe, claimed millions of lives, and reshaped history forever. It was a war of destruction, but also of resilience. Nations rose and fell, alliances shifted, and humanity witnessed both its darkest and most heroic moments. But how did this war start? Why did nations turn against each other in one of the deadliest conflicts in human history? In this video, we'll take you through the causes, key events, and lasting consequences of World War II. From the battlefields of Europe to the Pacific Front, from the horrors of the Holocaust to the atomic bombings of Japan, this is the story of a war that changed the world forever. Before we begin, tell us, what do you think was the most important event of World War II? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's dive into history and uncover the story of World War II. The roots of World War II go back to the end of World War I. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, forcing Germany to take the blame for the war and pay heavy penalties. This created anger and economic hardship in Germany. Meanwhile, the Great Depression of the 1930s made things even worse for many countries. In this environment, leaders like Adolf Hitler in Germany, Benito Mussolini in Italy, and Emperor Hirohito in Japan rose to power, promising to restore their nation's strength. These leaders built strong militaries and started taking over land. Germany took Austria and Czechoslovakia, Italy invaded Ethiopia, and Japan attacked China. The world watched, but no one stopped them. This policy was called appeasement, hoping to avoid another war. But it didn't work. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. This was the official start of World War II. In just months, Germany used a strategy called Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, to quickly conquer Poland, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. By June 1940, most of Western Europe was under German control. But one country refused to give up: Britain. Led by Prime Minister Winston Churchill, the British resisted Germany's air attacks in what became known as the Battle of Britain. Germany bombed British cities, but Britain's Royal Air Force fought back and stopped Hitler's invasion plans. In June 1941, Germany made a huge mistake. It invaded the Soviet Union, breaking a pact with Joseph Stalin. The war now spread to Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, Japan attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. The next day, the United States entered the war, joining the Allies, Britain, the Soviet Union, and China. The war became global. In North Africa, the Allies fought against German General Erwin Rommel, known as the Desert Fox. In the Soviet Union, one of the biggest battles of the war happened in Stalingrad. After months of fighting, the Soviets won, marking a turning point against Germany. By 1944, the Allies were ready to take back Europe. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, thousands of Allied soldiers landed on the beaches of Normandy, France. This was the beginning of Germany's downfall. At the same time, the Soviets were pushing from the east. By April 1945, the Allies reached Germany. On April 30th, Adolf Hitler took his own life in his bunker in Berlin. A week later, on May 8th, Germany surrendered. This day is known as VE Day, Victory in Europe. Even though Germany had surrendered, Japan was still fighting. The US fought island by island, facing fierce resistance. To end the war quickly, the US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima on August 6th and Nagasaki on August 9th, 1945. Japan surrendered on August 15th, marking the official end of World War II. One of the darkest aspects of World War II was the Holocaust. Between 1941 and 1945, the Nazi regime, under Adolf Hitler, carried out a systematic genocide against Jewish people and other targeted groups, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and political dissidents. Over 6 million Jewish men, women, and children were murdered in concentration camps like Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Dachau. The Holocaust remains one of history's most horrifying tragedies, serving as a reminder of the consequences of hatred and discrimination. One of the most significant outcomes of World War II was the creation of the United Nations in 1945. The UN was established to prevent future conflicts and promote international cooperation. This marked a major shift in global politics, as nations sought diplomacy over war. Human rights became a key focus, leading to the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. The war also led to a new era of geopolitical tension, the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the world's two superpowers, leading to decades of rivalry, nuclear arms races, and political conflicts. This division shaped global relations for much of the 20th century. Meanwhile, the war weakened European colonial empires. Nations in Africa and Asia, many of which had been under colonial rule for decades, began fighting for and achieving independence. Countries like India, Indonesia, and many African nations gained their freedom in the years following the war. Economically, the war led to major changes in global trade and industry. The United States became an economic powerhouse, while Europe underwent reconstruction efforts, leading to the eventual creation of the European Union. Technological advancements, including radar, jet engines, and nuclear power, emerged from wartime innovations and shaped the modern world. The horrors of the Holocaust and war crimes committed during the conflict led to a push for justice. The Nuremberg trials, held in 1945–46, prosecuted key Nazi leaders for crimes against humanity. This set a precedent for future war crimes tribunals and reinforced the importance of accountability in warfare. During the trials, 24 high-ranking Nazi officials were charged with crimes including genocide and crimes against peace. 12 of them were sentenced to death, like Hermann Göring, head of the Luftwaffe and Hitler's designated successor, while others, such as Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, and Albert Speer, Minister of Armaments, received lengthy prison sentences. These trials, conducted by the International Military Tribunal, marked the first time in history that leaders of a nation were held accountable for such large-scale atrocities, and also helped establish international legal principles that later influenced the creation of the International Criminal Court. In addition to the Nuremberg trials, other war crimes tribunals were held in Tokyo, where Japanese leaders were prosecuted for atrocities committed in Asia. Several top Japanese officials, including General Hideki Tojo, were sentenced to death for their roles in war crimes. These trials brought justice for victims and highlighted the need for human rights protections. The Holocaust's legacy also led to efforts in education, with Holocaust remembrance institutions being established worldwide to ensure that such atrocities are never forgotten. World War II was one of the darkest times in human history, but it also reshaped the modern world. It showed the devastating impact of unchecked aggression and totalitarianism, leading to global efforts to prevent future conflicts. The war's lessons continue to influence international relations, human rights policies, and efforts to maintain peace. History is filled with lessons, and it's up to us to learn from them. What do you think are the most important lessons from World War II? How do you think it still impacts the world today? Let us know in the comments below, and if you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep history alive so we never repeat the mistakes of the past. Thank you for watching.
We hope you enjoyed exploring today's transformation. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next story.